What's up everyone, Fai Gaming here back from the Lost Ark video. Today guys and yesterday I started to buy a lot of Honor Shard pouch and I actually think there is value on doing that. I spent probably around 20k gold to get all these shards, and as you can see I don't have a lot of gold in the first place. I didn't have a lot of gold in the first place. I probably had like 30k, 28k at the first place. But I decided to invest most of my gold there, and I'm gonna explain why I did that, what was the situation, who made me take this choice to do that, and from this video, I hope that you can understand the value of this auto sharp pouch and the future that waits for this item. So first, I want to explain the situation that made me take this choice. So there is first place, there is a potentially a second gold inflation that is happening right now, at least on my server. So there is more and more players who now have access to the hard episode dungeons and Argos phase 2 and phase 3. So that becomes a sustainable gold income every week, and that is increasing the liquidity. That means the amount of gold in the system of Lost Ark. So also, on top of that, you have people who you have a lot of people who actually sells the tradable materials in the open market, like destruction stones, guardian stones, lip stones, and stuff. So there is even more gold in the player's wallet on top of that, on top of this gold income every week, which is quite nice. So that makes the, as I said, the increasing liquidity of gold in the system, and that leads to the devaluation of gold. So the gold value decrease over time as more and more people have gold in their wallet. So that makes the price of materials and the blue crystals to rise because obviously gold become less valuable. So holding into gold during an inflation is losing gold and buying power. So that means if before the inflation you had like let's say 1,000 gold, you could buy 185 lipstones. During the inflation, you can only buy 90 lipstones because obviously your gold is devaluating. You're losing value in your gold, right? Next one here is the increasing demand and supply over time for the T3 stones, which is destructions and guardian stones, the lip stones and the shards. So there is an increased demand because as our gear increase over time, obviously we started from very in tier 3 we started from 1302, and that gear increase over time, and that means also there is more materials required for honing because as our gear increase, I'm gonna show you very simply to make sure you guys understand. For example, my chest piece here requires 12 lipstones, 498 guardian stones and stuff, gold and stuff. And as you can see, the 15 here requires 14, 686, and that amount increase over time. Now it doesn't increase like that dramatically, but as we further go, plus 15, plus 16, plus 17, plus 20, plus 21, that number is going to increase by a lot, right? So that also increase the demand for those honing materials because what you get every week or every day on your chaos dungeon, on your guardian raids and stuff is not going to fulfill that requirement for honing your gear at higher tier, at the late tier 3, right? So that makes the demand go up. So as for the supply, the increasing number of alts in tier 3 over time, that makes them sell their tradable materials that are in abundance. So let's say I have my main here, I have let's say another five um, oats that are also in tier 3, and those are going to be parked at some, I don't know, probably 1370 or something like that, and they're going to do their own chaos dungeons, the guardian raids and stuff, and I'm going to accumulate a lot of tradable materials. And so I think a lot of people will be selling those materials as well to gather gold and also to invest that gold after on whatever they think is valuable at that moment, probably for some people that could be skins, for some people that could be another materials that they think is more valuable for them at the moment and stuff. For example, some people will buy T2 shards because they want to use that for the new class release and stuff, right? So number three, the increasing value of gold over time. And as our gear increase, the honing clicks becomes more expensive. As I've shown you guys here, my for my 11 it cost me 170 gold. For my 15 it cost 210 gold. And this number is gonna increase by a lot as well. As we further go, like plus 17, plus 18, plus 20, plus 21 is gonna increase by a lot as well, right? So as that number increase, that's gonna burn more gold over time as well. That means that will decrease the liquidity of gold, or the amount of gold in the player's hand, and which also can be translated as the value of gold is increasing or going up. That is very, very easy to understand. If you don't understand, please let me know in the comment. I will explain. Um, so number four, popular and unpopular honing materials in the open market. So there are some popular materials that are in the market and people buy a lot of them and stuff. It's a very good example of those T2 shards, because we have new class releasing soon, which is the Lance Master. We will have others as well, such as the Scouter, the Arcana, Artist, many other classes which is gonna be released. And so as of now, the T2 shards are very, very expensive, because we have a new class releasing soon, right? It going to 400 gold. I think the lowest point of this life shard on the crash was like 230 or something like that. So it almost already doubled, right? We have the T3 Destruction Stones, which is also popular. I'm gonna show you guys right here. That's my page one. As you can see, it's at 29 gold. Yesterday, it did went up until 31 gold for a bundle of 10 units, for 10 destruction stones for 29, 30 gold on average at this moment. Um, that is mostly due to people wanting to have a plus 20 weapon. It was very popular on Twitch and stuff. Like you see those Twitch streamers who have their shiny 20 plus 20 weapons, and everyone's want that. So one that creates a hype, and people want to rush to this kind of level of weapon, which makes them flex their gold into that. Because now, as I said, people have a lot of gold, right? And they want to spend that gold on things that they think is valuable for them, which for some people is to get a plus 20 weapon. It looks great, it increases your damage and stuff, blah blah blah. And also you have number two, you have outs also who needs to gear up, right? So it does add to the increasing demand of this overall material for the plus 20 weapon, and also for the oaths, because oaths also needs destruction stones to reach 1370 and higher, right? So number three here we have the tier three honor lipstones, and honor lipstones are here. I'm not talking about the great honor lipstone, it's specifically about the honor lipstones which has a price increase of over 100% or even more. It doubled, almost tripled in price. Um, so that is, I think, mostly due to the people pushing odds to 1370. It could be, or it could be players coming back into the game. Those who quitted the game back then, when they couldn't access to Argos and the field, they felt really angry about the game, and it felt pay to win, and they quit the game before 1370. And now they're coming back. They want to push their character to 1370 so they can have access to the hard mode and also the Argos before the release of new stuff such as the Sulfur or Valatan, right? So we have also some unpopular items, and there is a lot actually, but I took this the example of the T3 shards. So as you can see, T3 shards at the moment is sitting at 32 gold. The lowest point of T3 shards was 25 gold, I think, for this small honor shard pouch. As for the honor shard pouch, the large one, it was around 80, 85 gold, I would say. So, as you can see, it didn't increase that much. It's not as dramatic as the Honor Stones, which saw an increased price of over 100%, and also the Destruction Stones, which were selling for um, 15 gold, 18 gold, and now they are 29 gold, 30 gold, 31 gold. And I think this price will keep increasing even though the supply is very high, because as I said, there is a very very high hype and rush and flex to get to this plus 20 weapon, and also outs also need them, right? So as for the T3 shards, there is no demand for this item, and that is very important. There is no, there is demand, of course, but there is not that high demand for this item, and I'm gonna explain. Because right now you don't need to buy these items to be able to hone your gear at the moment. I am now at 1405, and I have never bought and used a Honor Shard pouch for me to hone my gear. I bought them because I think it's valuable, but I never had to actually buy them to hone my gear, right? As you can see, I have some still enough honing shards to hone my gear, and as you can see, it doesn't actually cost a lot. It costs like 5,700 to gear up the XP and hone this gear, and but this number will increase, right? But as of now, it's not that high, so people don't feel the need to buy these items as of now, right? So it is very very important at the moment. They don't need to buy them, so there is no demand for these items, right? So for the shard for honing, not high for now. Yeah, that's what I just said. And also the high supply is also one of the reason where these items is unpopular. Um, when most people do a chaos gate, right? They do that on tier 3, right? And they get a secret map, and whenever they finish the secret map, they get a lot of honor shards pouches, and most of the people sell them, right? I have also done that at the beginning. That's gold income, right? So chaos gate is considered as a gold income at the moment through obtaining those honor shards and selling them on the market, right? So one thing to remember, there is no demand for these items, but there is a high supply for these items, the T3 shards, because they are not popular and they are not in need as of now, right? So the last point here is gonna be the real value of T3 shards compared to the honing materials, to other honing materials, which are the destruction stones, guardian stones, and the lip stones. These are the three most essential materials that you need for honing your gear, right? The stones, lipstones. Um, we won't talk about this because this one is actually you can craft them from your stronghold, so it's not something that you can farm and produce and sell on the market, right? So we won't talk about this, but the shards are also going to be very, very important. So those are the main materials that you need for honing your gear, right? So to explain this, I'm gonna show you another image right here, and this is gonna be a bit confusing for some people, but feel free to ask if you don't understand, and I want to make sure that everybody actually understands this. So this is the supply of the tradable materials for these three items that I have mentioned just right before, right? So as you can see, the Destruction and the Guardian Stones and the Honor Great Leap Stones have sources for the tradable ones. They can be farmed through Chaos Dungeons, through Guardian Raids, through Pirate Merchant, where you can buy those materials in exchange of pirate coins, right? But one thing to remember here is that those items or are not roster limited, right? So if you have 6 characters, you can farm them on all of your 6 characters on daily basis, right? So 2 times daily on each of your characters, 2 times daily guardian rays on each of your characters, and also 1 time weekly roster limit, not roster limit, for each of your character, right? So if you have 6 characters on tier 3, each one of them can buy 300 destruction stone and 900 guardian stones that you can sell on the market, or you can trade them to your main, etc., etc. So those are not roster limited, right? So next one here is the honor shard. So the honor shard are very different from this one because they have to tradable ones I'm talking about are farmed through chaos gates, and when you finish a chaos gate, you get rewarded with rift pieces or and also secret maps, right? This can be random, this can be blue, purple, or legendary, right? So you can also buy secret maps through Rift pieces. You can use your Rift pieces to buy secret maps and also get those honor shards. So the one thing to remember about honor shard is that those are roster limited. We are right. So you can only get one reward per day per roster. So that means even if you have, I don't know, some people have 12 characters already. I've seen them, but even if that's the case, they can only get one reward per roster per day, right? So that is very, very important because that's going to play a big role in the supply as we further go in the late game. And as you can see, I have mentioned that the demand will increase, right? The demand will increase and the supply will also increase. But one thing to remember is that supply of honor shard are going to remain stable. So when you have the demand of these materials going up, the demand of honor shards also going up because obviously you need more of them. But as I said, the supply is also gonna increase because we're gonna have more odds. You're gonna have people selling the tradable materials that they gathered through the odds, right? So the supply of these materials are gonna also increase, and I think for those two items, the supply is gonna increase greater than the demand of these items. So as of honor shards, the demand is also gonna increase, right? But because this is roster limited, you can only farm once per day, so per character. So that the supply is gonna remain flat. If you have new players coming into the game, of course that number can go up a little bit and stuff, but that remains stable. So one thing that is really important is that the supply of honor shards will be decided on how many players, not characters, did get the rewards on that day, right? So let's say there is 1 million registered account in the US West, right? But only 100,000 people logged in today to do the Chaos Gate and they farm those secret maps, right? And they got the honor shards and they decided to sell them on the market. So that will only be those 100,000 people and with their only one character that they have, 100,000 accounts, but they can have multiple characters in their account, but only one of the characters can get the reward a day. So that will be a fixed supply to of honor shards in the market, right? But as I said, the demand for these items are not great. Those are unpopular items as of now. They are just considered as a gold income. So what I think here is that the real value of these items are very, very, very rare. Those are very rare items because they are roster limited. And as the demand for the more materials required for honey increase, the demand for these items are gonna also increase when people are gonna start to feel that actually I need those honor shards to hold my gear, right? So as of now, as I said, that number is very small, but this number will quickly rise as we further go into the late game, and along with that, the demand for this item are also going to increase, and people will not consider this shard as a gold income, but instead will consider that as a item that it should use, or if they sell them on the market, that will be different because as of now, it's they're selling them because they don't need it. But later on, when if they sell it, they will sell them even though they need it. So that the price of that selling time point is going to be much higher than what we have right now. So that's basically my reasoning on why I think these honor shards are gonna rise in price as we further go into the late game, and that's why I decided to buy them on the open market because I do think their value is gonna increase. And so that's basically the most essential two part is that there's a gold inflation that is happening, and also the value of these the real value of these honor shards are actually quite valuable and quite rare in this Lost Ark system, as between those three materials that we have, right? So guys, that's it basically on my reasoning. And honestly, I don't suggest you. I am not making this video to convince you to buy these honor shards, right? But instead, I want to make this video to show you my reasoning and my understanding about this item, and also about how the game is also. I think the psychology of people is gonna change towards those T3 shards, so that you can use that information if you think that is the case, to use that information to prepare yourself for those big changes in this overall sentiment of these T3 honing materials that are going to be very essential in the late game. So guys, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed, please hit the like, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.